Hello and welcome to the Fancy Beer Name Podcast, episode 21. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And this episode, as ever, as are all the episodes, is sponsored by Mosaic Board Printers, Europe's leading beer mat manufacturer. Look at these bad boys here.
They're square and they're quality.
Yeah, we've also had some circular ones from them.
They do all the shapes.
They do all the shapes. You could have one that looks like a shield if you want. Get your St. George's Day on. Although that was back in April. And
Get your crusade on.
Get your crusade on, you bombardier.
Is it a bombardier or bombardier?
But actually, yeah, a good point. It's probably bombardier. I don't know why I said bombardier. What the fuck? Who am I? The officer?
Yeah, it's one of the one of the bombardiers. But...
Some of the bombardiers in. Wow. Okay. Well, Paul, I'm putting all this down to heat exhaust.
I am so hot.
This is literally the hottest I've ever been this week. And
yes, that's how it works.
It's Wednesday night. So,
yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah. It's probably something like 67 degrees.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. give or take.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right, doesn't it?
But you know, as Brits, we're not used to it.
No.
And we just love moaning about the weather anyway.
I mean, it's our own fault for doing this in the kitchen, where there's like the hottest part of the house.
Yeah. Doesn't matter how big it is, and I would tend to say that my kitchen's fairly large.
Okay, ramp up the air fryer, Chris. Let's get things proper toasty in here.
So tonight, what we've managed to come up with is that we've taken this seasonal heat wave of 2025. Where were you in the heat wave of summer 2025? That's the question. I'll tell you where we were. We were here recording this, and we thought what would be a really good idea is to go to our local bottle shop, the Hop Vault, and pick beers that we thought would quench the thirst.
I'm kind of gesturing my hand over the beers, but I can't actually see them because we're having to record this through a laptop today, through a new piece of kit.
Yeah,
I can't actually remember what we've got, so you'd be able to see them on camera. But
it's a new thing that we're up to.
Yeah, it's like blind tasting. We've definitely got a beak lager, which is one of our favourites.
Yep.
Dash, which is a perennial favourite in this household. And then we've got a couple of things by Simple Things.
Simple Things up in Scotland.
Yeah.
I want to say Glasgow, it might just be Scotland.
They cover all of Scotland.
All of Scotland.
And I think we've got a bit of a Westie at the end from Sure Shot.
Yes, double dry hopped West Coast IPA.
So these are things we've curated based on the fact that we think these are suit the hot weather. Yeah. They're refreshing. They're not too strong, although the Westie I think is about 6 point something. Could be wrong.
6.7, yeah. So you could be right.
That's going to ramp it up a little bit. But yeah, we try to keep things cool and chill.
What did we start with? Because what was our amuse-bouche?
As we were setting up, we've had a Utopian unfiltered lager, which is their British lager, and Utopian just doing good things at the moment. They're just opening their new tap room.
They have, yeah.
Yeah. I think they've just done something with the craft beer channel as well. So,
well, originally they approached us, if you remember back in December.
The craft beer channel will admit they are second best to Planet Beer TV. Yeah. They've always said that.
When we couldn't get them in our diary,
they went and run it off to the craft beer channel. Second best. Sloppy seconds. No, I'm sure they were delighted when they got there instead.
Well, it's why they never replied to us again. They were like, let's pick this up in February.
And they were like, we're ready now, boys. And they were like, yeah, got something better, pal.
Actually, yeah, you know, I've just been in touch with Johnny and it's fine.
Well, you know what? I'm glad I pulled your beer out the bin end, Utopian.
Yeah, but no, it's really nice and
it was good.
I'm
so hot, Chris.
I have the Utopian box coming from Bruiser. So
nice.
I think. I think maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get this one out.
Hang on, I'm just rubbing it against my neck. So this is Beak, and this is Daesh, and it's a 5% pills, and this is in fact, this was my beer of the year last year. Or was it both of our beer of the year?
I think it was the channel's beer of the year, yeah. We both agreed on it. We both, we thought it was
spectacular.
Worthwhile.
So looking forward to revisiting this bad boy.
So this is the Fantasy Beer Name Podcast. We're recording this one without Luke, so I'm a bit worried. That's why the laptop's here.
Do you mean the talent?
Yeah, the talent, Luke, who usually does our recordings, he's now he pretty much just goes out and films boxers now.
He's got a proper career going on.
He's got a real career going and goes out filming boxers for Team England boxing. So we're having to fit in around his schedule, but also there are times when we can't do that, and tonight was one of those times. So the Fancy Beer Name podcast, called such because we basically name each episode after a fictional beer name.
Yes.
That we have come up with either together or apart or whatever. It doesn't really matter. We've been doing this now for nearly 2 years, this exact podcast.
And we only just run out of names.
Yeah. I think that's it. We're at a point now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's no more combination of words we can possibly do after 21 episodes.
I don't know what to call this episode.
I've got a little bit of one. So, shall I reveal the name first and then the story, or you just did an amazing orgasmic sigh when you took a swig of that?
I just drank the beak lager.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Life just feels good. It's lemony. It's just
if Bohemian Lager could be, identified as a particular beer, it's this for me. This is just wonderful. It feels classic and yet modern, and it's just got packed full of flavour. I love it.
It's crisp, got that bit of lemon on it, and
could smash that.
Also, but anyway, Paul, have you got a name for this? Because I don't.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say. I mean, do you want the name first, or do you want the story as to why?
Well, I think usually we go with the name first.
Okay.
And then we kind of reverse engineer why it's called that.
Okay. In that case, today's podcast episode is called Pride March Primark Viking.
Okay.
Pride March Primark Viking. Did I stutter?
What, Pride
March.
Pride
as in Pride
Primark Viking. Okay. I mean, if I was to guess, it's June, so it's Pride Month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Primark, I mean, speaks for itself.
It does indeed.
And Viking, I think you're going to fill that. You could fill that in for me.
Oh.
You're going to fill in my Viking, are you?
I'll fill in your Viking void. Don't worry. Shove this up your Viking. Right. So
it's not quite to my liking.
I went to York.
Oh, okay, Jorvik.
Yeah. That's why it's called Jorvik Viking Centre.
Yeah, it's.
I knew that.
It was originally Jorvik.
I know.
So, a bit of history for you. Not that this is the rest is history, but
you're not far off.
The Romans originally called it Iborum or something like that.
Iborum.
Iborum.
You're boring.
I'm boring. And then the Vikings took it over in the Dark Ages. When they came over, and it became Jorvik.
Nice. Yeah, nice. But anyway, I went there and York.
I went there on a stag do.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm sighing a little bit. So I'm just going to preface this. I went with my wife and we took our little dog. We went on a Friday, and Friday was brilliant. It was wonderful. Beautiful city. Lots of nice drinking establishments, nice places to eat. Had a great time. Saturday was like a different city.
Really?
Just like woke up in Apocalypse Now. It was just fucking stag do, hen do, chav wedding, tourist, and like gangs of roaming feral pissheads.
Everything all converges.
And it was all in a melting pot of weird weather, which was in turns completely boiling hot and then freezing cold when the sun went behind a cloud. And everyone just sort of collectively lost their mind. Everyone was rammed. There was an air of hostility that sort of permeated everywhere we went.
Really?
It was like, yeah, there was a strange...
Even in the House of the Trembling Madness?
Well... That was. I'll come back to that. So, this is not to disparage York. It was to disparage the people in York.
Yeah,
is that worse?
Not the people of York.
Not the people of
but
York.
The people that were in York at that weekend.
Bloody tourists. God, you wouldn't get me doing that. But Yeah, it was just felt really weird, and you couldn't get in anywhere on a Saturday. Couldn't get anywhere near anywhere good. And if you did manage to squeeze in, you were sort of like sharing a table with someone, and you couldn't move, and it was hot in all the establishments. It was just like overwhelmingly like close and pressurized. We just didn't enjoy ourselves.
Did you always have Ziggy with you?
No. Well, we had a place sort of 5-minute walk from the city walls, so we took her in for a sort of 2-hour nap she has in a crate, and then sort of walked back in and did lots of nice walks and stuff. That probably didn't help, to be honest, having a dog with us, because
no. Well, you're kind of limited once.
Well, everywhere was dog friendly. I'll give them that.
No, but I mean, if you haven't got anywhere to sit, you're kind of screwed, aren't you?
Yeah,
with a dog. You kind of just stood there. Well, you're a person that's holding a beer and a dog, and waiting for somewhere to sit.
On the Saturday, we walked in, and it was Pride March that day as well. So I've got this weird, almost like supernatural ability to go on city breaks just as a Pride March is breaking out, and I always end up stuck in the middle of it. Not that it's not a good thing to be stuck in Pride March, but I'm always going in the opposite direction or wanting to be somewhere completely different. So that happened to me again.
So that always just annoys you at the time.
So I've just loads of people walking down small streets now, and I just want to go over there, please. More power to you, brothers and sisters. But I just wanted to go over there. And there was a huge amount of people. But before the march kicked off, we went into the town centre, and it was, as I said, when the sun went in, it just went stupidly cold. It went from felt like 30 degrees down to about 9 degrees. It was like the weirdest temperature.
Wow.
And Hannah went, "Oh shit, I'm really cold. I haven't bought my coat or anything." So she went into Primark to get a cheap jumper. But Primark is right opposite Jorvik Viking Centre as well, which is quite
nice.
Nice. But not that this is relevant to the story, even though there's Viking in it. But while I was waiting outside Primark, I refused to go into a Primark in case, all the acrylic set on fire, and it goes into a raging inferno.
Also, is your tetanus up to date?
Yeah, exactly. Also, I've just got a phobia of sort of sparkly writing on cheap T-shirts. And so I was stood there, and I was looking at this student, clearly a student, a young person who stood outside Jorvik Viking Centre, whose job was to like 10 people in, dressed as a Viking, but she'd just lost the will to live. She was like, come in, come and experience the exciting world of Viking. Oh God, I want to go home. I'll miss my parents. Wish I didn't come to university. And anyway, I thought that was sweet. But as I was waiting outside Primark, lots of people were coming in and out of Primark who looked like Primark shoppers. And then this magnificent beast turned up, walking out of the main doors of Primark. And it was a rainbow-coloured Viking.
Wow.
And he was magnificent. He had the most colourful Viking. It looked like a Viking, a proper Viking outfit.
Proper Viking, yeah.
Although, with the stereotypical horns on helmets. Yes, I know that never happened. But,
no.
the stereotype of a Viking. But it was all bejewelled, and it was rainbow coloured, and there was ribbons hanging off him. And he was built like a brick shit house as well, which really
that's amazing. That sounds gay as fuck.
Oh no, he was the gay thing. I'd have gone gay for Primark Viking.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
All day long, right? So he'd come out, so that was nice. And then there seemed to be a stream of other participants in the Pride March coming out of Primark, so I don't know what they were buying, but they all looked fucking magnificent.
I mean,
they definitely didn't shop in Primark.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, we can talk the merits of, gay fashion and stuff, but I also just think, especially if you just find someone with a magnificent beard.
And they had the knots in it.
You can fall in love with that.
It was plaited, fine. It was knots, and there was like colourful things in it and streamers, and he looked amazing. Anyway, he definitely got some action that day.
More, like you say, more power to him.
He might have invaded someone. Who knows? But
someone from Northumberland, maybe.
Yes. Lindisfarne got pummeled that day. I tell thee.
Poor old Geordie.
So that was the Pride March Primark Viking. But York, right? Again, I don't want to disparage York because it's clearly a beautiful city, and I'm didn't experience the best of it, I don't think. But I had high expectations of drinking establishments in York because I've never been as a grown man. So, there's obviously Brew York.
Yeah, how was that?
I'll come back to that in a second. But there's other little drinking establishments by well-known breweries, like Thornbridge. You got a boozer there, which was actually the first stop we went to on a Friday to get some food.
And that was when life was good.
That was when life was good. And then there's obviously the House of Trembling Madness, who've got two places. One's a bottle shop with a bar. The other one's more of a
I went
pub.
to the one that's in the Shambles. Is it in the Shambles? Or have I just conflated that?
No, they're kind of both around the corner from each other. But they're just on the outskirts, the Shambles, really.
Yeah.
So
the one that I went to had like these candles that looked like horrific abominations. Because
was there a bottle shop in there when you walked in?
I think it was downstairs.
Yeah, that was the second venue. So that's the more pubby type venue.
Yeah,
the bar, should I say, not the pub.
Yeah.
First day we went to the first Trembling Madness, which had the bottle shop downstairs and the small bar upstairs, which was great. But again, very busy even on a Friday. I had this real problem where we kind of joined this table and they were really nice, a couple who let us sit with them and we had a good chat. But then they left and then another couple joined and they were like these really enthusiastic Californians. And I kind of get a bit twitchy around Californians because I know a lot of them, and then they're very, very keen to talk, and I'm not.
Well, you're British, they're American.
Stop trying to make friends with me.
Yeah,
I wondered. Hey, what have you guys been up to? I was like, yeah, I'm going.
yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk about it, mate. It's just been too much. So smashed back a pint. I didn't realise that pint was 6.5%. But anyway, we left and I was quite pissed. We had a really good night that night. Saturday, not so much. Couldn't get anywhere. Went to the other Trembling Madness, which was like it's 3 floors.
Nice.
All rammed. Managed to get a seat there though. And then everywhere else just couldn't get in. The Saving Grace and 2 Saving Graces just up the road. There was a pub owned by Turning Point. And it was a little dive bar, which was empty, and it was cracking.
Where a Turning Point from?
I don't know. I didn't think they were from that neck of the woods, but there must be somewhere in Yorkshire, maybe.
For some reason, I was thinking they were from like Newcastle, but I think that might be full circle.
Yeah, I kind of
Turning Point, full circle. It's all the same. It's all shapes.
But there's no one in there. And the barman was great. He apparently he's a bit of a legend. He was lovely. I had a little chat with him.
Okay, so shout out to Turning Point.
Yeah, he was nice. And then there was a brew dog on the corner, and it was one of the best brew dogs I've been in. It was a proper dive bar brew dog, and they had Fidens on tap.
Incredible. I mean, to be fair,
that was good.
I've often said on the channel, Brewdog are essentially for me craft beer Wetherspoons.
Yeah, but when they've got a good guest selection on, sometimes that's a guest selection you're not going to get anywhere else, and that's really cool. It was really good to see a couple of big American breweries there.
Well, we haven't got much to talk about in like the news roundup today, but there are a couple of things that I just found online in a forum.
There's been no news,
which I found were quite funny, and Brewdog falls into this. So let me circle back to that in a bit.
But that was kind of it, really. And it's like, couldn't even get any food on the evening because everyone was full.
It's not a holiday destination.
That's what I mean. And yeah, more for us for not booking anywhere, of course. But we just didn't think we'd have to. And like, we're only looking for like a little wine bar or something. And in the end, we went to a little suburb just outside the city, which was beautiful. It was like a nice little trendy place with a nice wine bar and tapas and a nice little boozer. That's the other thing though. When we decided on the first night, right, we couldn't be bothered to walk into the city centre with the dog because we'd been done the same walk about 18 times. We went in the opposite direction around the little park, and there was a pub on the corner, just of this, middle of nowhere, just almost like an estate pub that had been done out. There was a sign on it that said Brew York. And we went, ooh, Brew York have bought a little backstreet boozer. So we went in there. That was fantastic.
Oh, awesome. That's good.
1,000 times better than Brew York's tap room.
No way.
Centre, which was a chronic disappointment. I mean, it was the lineup there was beyond terrible. I'm not saying because it was all brew York, but there was hardly any kind of hoppy beers at all. It was the most bizarre thing. It was all sours and stouts, and fruit based and all that stuff. And it's like I just wanted a nice lager. And in the end, I had a couple of guest beers, which weren't kept particularly brilliantly, because Repeater by Full Circle is a really great beer, right?
Yeah.
Refreshing.
But even then, it's only there. Like,
I know,
it's only a core beer from them.
But you just go, that we can fall back on that one, right?
Yeah.
It was just bad. It just felt like it'd just been badly kept, or thrown on the last minute, or
that's disappointing.
And it was really disappointing. So I don't know. There's loads of little places around York I know where you wouldn't go as a tourist, but my first experience of York wasn't brilliant, I've got to say.
But that bar, what was the bar called? Do you remember the Brew York bar?
I'll have a look on my maps. It was a proper pub. It was a proper boozer.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
While Paul does that, we'll have a quick ad break.
The Fantasy Beer Name podcast is sponsored by Mosaic Board Printers, Europe's leading beer mat producer. They're thick and they're juicy because they absorb New England IPAs, not to mention other beer styles. Buy some beer mats today with the code PLANETBEERTV. 10% off your first order. Mosaic Board Printers. You can use beer mats for anything. I use mine for business cards, so don't delay, order now.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Fantasy Beer Name podcast. So, before we left for arbitrary ad breaks, Paul was just telling us about the Brew York pub that he went to that was actually worth going to.
Backstreet Boozer.
Backstreet Booze. What was it called?
It's called the Old Grey Mare.
The Old Grey Mare.
On maps. Yeah, it was good. Do you know why I really liked it?
Oh,
got a really good wine selection.
Classic. That is so you.
But they had more choice there than they did at the tap room. They had more on cask. Good selection on tap of a few guest beers. It was good. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely savage. Right, what are we going to drink now?
Something a bit unusual. We're drinking a beer by Simple Things. They are in Glasgow, you're right. It says here on the front.
I thought so.
So it's Simple Things Fermentation. So as the name suggests, they specialise in kind of wild fermentation beers or mixed fermentation beers. And this is called Motueka. And we're into Saison territory, mate.
A Motueka Saison.
Yeah, and it's a crisp and clean Saison, dry hopped with Motueka, as the name suggests. So this is going to be interesting.
Fuck yeah, I'm into this.
So shall we read out the spiel?
Go on.
A grist comprised of Pils malt, spelt, and wheat plus Celia and Zazbek hops.
Zazbek?
No, I don't know anything about Zazbek.
No, that sounds like something we should maybe explore at some point.
It says simple but super tasty beer, fruity with a touch of pepper spice and a light dry finish.
Well, we'll see about that.
To the judge of that.
But no, I mean,
fermentation.
the heat holding up. It has cooled down a little bit.
It's cooled down a little bit. The beer's helping, I'll be honest.
So the reason why I haven't kept the door open is because at the moment, so friends of the podcast will know that I have a cat, and she always tends to come in pretty much whenever we're doing anything important. If we're filming or if we're recording, she's walking in, and she's a vocal cat. Fucking
there we go again. By magic.
It's like she can hear, and she's off out. But we also have in the garden, in one of the trees somewhere, some birds nesting or something. And every time she goes in the garden, you've just got that, like birds do that one like little fucking chirp that's just constant, and it's really loud, and it just goes, it's the same thing on and on again. It's like, I don't know, that 2000s helium donk music that chavs used to listen to.
Put donk on it.
It's just like that, constant. And she goes out in the garden, and she's just minding her own business. She just wants to go and sleep under that bush over there. Now, she would eat them if she could be bothered.
Yeah, lazy cat.
Or if she had the chance. But she's not interested in it. She just wants to go and have a nice time in the garden, which birds we own. You know, I'm not being funny, but this is our garden, our space. And I never once sympathised with people killing birds, but actually now I'm kind of on side with it.
I mean, that was kind of my mentality when I went to York. Which is probably why I didn't enjoy it very much.
Yeah, I mean, that story went from like 0 to 50. Perhaps a little
just
back.
apropos nothing. My cat Steve brought a whole pigeon into the garden yesterday.
Did he?
Absolutely massacred it.
Is it? What are you? Did you? What?
I had to put it in those big sort of double-handled Aldi bags.
Didn't make it.
Oh no, it was long gone. It had its head basically.
I mean, at least it wasn't alive, and you know,
it was definitely flickering on when I was walking up the garden, but he'd finished it off by the time I reached the top of it.
That's what I like about Steve. He just gets the job done.
Gets the job done.
Steve gets the job done. Dear name.
He brought 2 magpies into the house the other day as well, but I'm going to hold that for another story because it led into something quite funny.
Ooh.
Anyway, right.
Anyway, this beer.
So this is
like
a
a saison.
change of pace, isn't it?
Yeah. So
dry, definitely. Crisp,
I mean,
definitely.
I've just sipped it, and it's a really good beer. Now, saison are always one of those styles where I'm kind of like, what are you? You know,
this has got a nice bit of flavour to it though. The Motueka's doing something quite interesting because saison you automatically sort of go to sort of classical Belgian style beers.
Yeah, like farmyard Belgian.
Yeah, and that has got this, but it's got a bit of like bubblegum.
I was about to say bubblegum. That is exactly what's sitting there.
And I imagine that's the Motueka, Chris.
Yeah, even though I would usually have Strata down as the bubblegum hop, but
it's all bubblegum if you stood it down.
Yeah.
They always say
it's true. Yeah.
There's essence of bubblegum.
Essence of odour bubblegum.
Did you used to ever call bubblegum chubbly? Was that just a Black Country thing?
I don't think I ever did that. But I don't know. Chuds.
Yeah, he'd probably deviate.
Yeah, it was called Chud. Yeah.
Go on, Gizzard Chubbly. You'd
Chubbly,
say.
Yeah. It was Chuds.
Got a chubbers on you. Ew, that's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know when chubby as an erection came into the common parlance.
But it kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think chubby was definitely an American thing. I think that seeped into British language to American films because 80s kids films like The Goonies.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Adventures in Babysitting. I think they use the word chubby quite a lot.
No, that's a good
Which
point.
Is deeply inappropriate for a babysitter.
It is really, but I mean, it feeds into all the stereotypes of American babysitters, doesn't it? American Babysitter. That'd be a good beer name.
It sounds like a porn film, mate.
I've
got a level with you.
Yeah.
What would that taste like? It tastes like bubblegum. Nope. Been eating strawberries.
Think again. I've been having a lot of Hubba Bubba. Do you remember those Hubba Bubba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're omnipresent.
Bubblegum.
About 20 years when we were kids, yeah.
Anyway, that's what this beer elicits. A cheerleader that's been blowing Hubba Bubba bubblegum.
Oh, God, why? Of all the words you could have said then. Oh, Christian.
Shall we move on?
Please. By the way, Simple Things Fermentation, your beer does not taste like the outpourings of porn. I don't think,
I don't know.
It's fucking good, though.
With the right attitude, and when Glasgow's thrown in, anything can happen. Right, so latest video that we've recorded / released. We released the CAMRA video, the long-threatened CAMRA video.
As in Campaign for Real Ale.
Campaign for Real Ale. And I think it went out as Is CAMRA Out of Touch? And I had to put just to kind of feed into that thumbnail YouTube mentality, I had to put are we doing it right? Or are we relevant?
Yeah, clickbait it.
Yeah. You've got to do it. You've got to play the game if you're going to do the YouTube game.
Yeah.
Like the ones that didn't do that after 20 2016, 2017, they don't YouTube anymore because that's literally the way you've got to do it now. And I kind of had to caveat that to Tim when I sent him.
So Tim was the person we were interviewing.
Yeah. So we interviewed Tim, or you interviewed Tim, and yeah, it was a really good chat. So it was essentially the double header. It was essentially the response to the Craft Beer is Too Cheap video that
you did
with Mark in March. Yeah.
Yep.
I think actually he did a really great job of humanizing CAMRA, which I think we're very much guilty of not humanizing CAMRA enough on this channel. We view it as, I think when we think of CAMRA sometimes we're thinking national level, traditional old boys, and I think we're also thinking of all the people that piss us off in drinking establishments.
Yeah.
And I mean, generally they are going to be members of your local CAMRA branch, but it's, I don't know, it's not about that, is it?
It's not about...
There's more to it.
It references the fact that these people definitely exist and the stereotypes exist for a reason. But I think, as you say we became quite aware that we might be kicking down a little bit, which is a bit unfair. I don't, you can make jokes and stuff, but we do. Well, me in particular, I do tend to have a pop at CAMRA. But Tim is the vice chair of our local branch, the Houser and Stourbridge branch. And as you say, he did a really good job of humanising things. One, because he's a really nice bloke anyway. Two, he's just as straight shooting as it comes, and he wants to put a more modern face on a CAMRA membership.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it sounds like our local branch is...
I think we've got a good one.
A more progressive one.
Yeah, it's definitely more progressive.
And I think also, I mean, just to kind of bookend what you were saying there about kicking down or punching down or whatever, I think we have had people that some of our viewers and listeners before have said, you're totally right about CAMRA, but you're going about this the wrong way. You need to be on the inside, really, to make the changes or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think also what was important when we did film that video was we didn't want it to be a 2-on-1 in the same way as like when I did the one with Mark, it was just me and him. And I think with this one and it being CAMRA and obviously all the things that potentially we've said in the past, we didn't want it to seem like it was a weird double team of
ganging up on
or even like good cop bad cop. We didn't want it to kind of play off like that. It shouldn't be like that. The video should have been like a discussion between a guy that is skeptical on CAMRA.
Well, that's the main point of the video, isn't it? He's not shouting from the rafters about how great CAMRA is. He's trying to make change from the inside, and he knows what the flaws are. And he agreed with a lot of my points, and he raised plenty of his own, which counterpointed mine quite happily. So yeah, I think he's the embodiment of trying to make a change from the inside.
What's quite funny is I was actually referencing you. I was saying that you're the one that's skeptical on CAMRA.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Tim, because he was.
No. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he signed up for the socials. Ultimately,
yeah. I mean, because he was very much aware of the fact that the stereotypes exist, and he wants to as a patron of somewhere like the Hop Vault, which is our local craft beer bar, and other places like that, he's very much aware that needs representing more so maybe than even your classic traditional cask pubs do.
Yeah,
so you were throwing it at me, were you?
No, that's what it was. You were sat there as a person. It's an interview between someone who is the vice chair of our local CAMRA branch and someone who's skeptical on CAMRA and basically just wants to get to know more about it, but like also just sort of like, what is this and why are you still relevant? And I think all of that was really answered, and I think a lot of it as well is actually quite poignant in the sense of these are all just volunteers, man. They're just doing it because they love beer, they love pubs, and why shouldn't we all be on the same side? That's all what we want.
Yeah.
And I think it ended quite nicely with Tim asking you if you would be willing to join CAMRA.
And I said, fuck no, Tim.
No, what you said is, you touch my heart, Tim. Yes, I will.
Yes.
And we both gave the commitment that we would sign up.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think now would actually be a good time to do that, because we've got the laptop. So
there's a good show, actually. I've never been on the new CAMRA site. Oh, is that the new CAMRA site?
Yeah.
It looks almost modern.
It does look almost modern, actually, yeah.
God, is it responsive?
Right, let's go up to the join us section. Ooh. So, no, we did say that we were going to do this, so we are going to do it now. Well, it's the thing, right? Because what people don't know that are listening or watching now is that, for God knows how, my dad bought me a membership for CAMRA probably over 10 years ago, and it was only last year that I actually stopped being a member, and it was just because I had a really tough month coming up, and my it wasn't even £27, £28 direct debit or something was coming out, and I was like, oh, I could really do without that. And I said, don't engage with CAMRA in the slightest. So I ended up just cancelling it. And then I remember, like, I was at work in the office and someone phoned, and it was just this really nice lady, and she was just saying she's from CAMRA, and she's just asking why I'd cancelled. And I'm like, times are tough.
Your cat's going mental outside.
This is ridiculous. How can I work with this?
He's been bullied by birds. That's fine.
Yeah, but no, I just had to say, like, times are hard. But you know, I'll be back, and it turns out
you weren't.
I am going to be back,
but you are going to be back now, because it costs £30.50 a year to join CAMRA. But if you sign up for 2 people, you only pay an extra £8,
which is us.
We can do that.
So 38 quid, 50
for the year,
all in for the year. I mean, that isn't bad. And I think one of the other things as well that's
pretty good, right?
That Tim flagged up is you really do get what you want out of this. You know, so many people would just sort of like sign up and then just, I suppose, not engage, because I think he said there's about 400 members, but the majority of them don't engage or do anything, because there's only 10 or 15 max that ever actually turn up to any of the meetings or the socials.
Well, that's it. And I think that was a very strong part of the conversation, really, which is, are people just joining CAMRA for the cost-saving benefits? Which, which is one of the sort of skeptical attributes of certain CAMRA members, which kind of, have caused this debate in the first place. But we won't get into that. Go and watch the video. But what I will say is, for 38 quid, that's pretty good value for supporting an organisation. Yeah. But as you say, we've also got to get into it a bit more. So if we do this, we need to get more engaged as well. This just can't be we've just paid for this, blah, blah, blah.
No, totally. Yeah.
Let's go to the AGMs. Let's go to the local chapter meetings. Let's do the scouting of the pubs.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a shortage of...
Yeah, they do a pub census in July.
Yeah.
So we could get involved in that. But I think the other thing as well, I mean, but I think one of the things here with their engagement, there's 400 members, only 10 or 15 show up to any of the things. They probably don't know the other 350
exactly.
are. Is it because it's such an arbitrarily low number per year? Like £38 a year for 2 people.
You can just pay and forget about it.
You would literally and I think that was the reason why I was a member for so long. I literally forgot that I was paying it out. So I don't know, maybe that's something. As your new CAMRA representatives, we're going to lobby for higher prices.
Oh man, we're going to be absolute nightmares.
Right, well, we'll do this, absolutely.
Right, so that's on there.
Should we do it in the break?
Let's do it in the break, because one, I've left my wallet in the car, which is a bit silly, and 2, I need a wee.
Okay, so after the break, we're going to be fully fledged CAMRA members. We'll see you then.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm gonna crack a beer, Chris,
Yeah, do it.
and it's another Simple Things fermentation.
It is NZ Pale.
So yeah, it's an NZ Pale, which I think stands for Nearly Zealous.
Nearly zealous. I mean, does it?
No, New Zealand. And this is, well, it's Simple Things fermentation. I'm not sure if I ever drank anything by them which is more kind of straight laced, as in, some normal hoppy beer. So
Yeah.
let's see what this is all about. But reading the blurb, it's a classic trilogy of New Zealand hops: Nectaron, Motueka, and Nelson.
Fantastic. Good stuff.
Mm.
So there's no reason why I would not like this.
This is right up your street, isn't it?
It smells
Oh, it's got some oats as well, so this might give a bit of overtone.
lime.
Very, yeah,
Lime.
all that going on.
Lime kaffir leaf.
Cheers.
Yeah,
We've not done any wronking, have we?
No, not even. I mean, we don't tend to. Do we tend
You
to?
don't want to over ronk, do you?
You don't over on.
You don't want to stretch your ronk muscles. Ronk muscles. Ronk muscles.
We have a Patreon. If we haven't already done an advert on that, I don't think we have. But we've just had a new Patreon subscribe to us called Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Yep. So hello, Keith. Thanks for being a subscriber. Always wanted a Keith, actually.
Yeah, well, I used to have one, but
yep,
let's put it down, unfortunately.
Jesus.
You got
cat?
Feral.
Oh,
no, I think it was a milkman.
Fucking hell, okay.
So, yeah.
What are we talking about after this? Hello, Keith. Thanks for being a subscriber.
Yeah. Thanks, Keith. We've got a few bits and bobs I want to talk about. We've actually got a question from Patreon. I think is well worth a discussion.
Yeah.
I think we need to delve into the world of news. Now, I think news has been a little bit scarce.
Yeah, we usually do our brews round, don't we?
Yeah, we're trying to keep it a little bit more positive because
Yeah.
it's all doom and gloom. We used to have the doom bar, but we had to retire that because it felt like it was all relentlessly depressing with things closing and just
there's always bad news, and don't get me wrong, there still is bad news now. Like, I'm a member of the craft beer professionals group on Facebook, which is mostly all brew.
What a laugh! How'd you get into that one? Just to can I join?
I'm
No,
there, man. I don't know. Yeah, there is stuff happening. A lot of it through anonymous stuff as well. Like, there's a certain brewery at the moment in a place that we went to back in September.
Talk about us here.
Yeah, that we went to back in September.
Okay.
Well, we didn't go to the brewery, but they're from a place that we went to. They were on that Black Horse Mile.
Sorry, it's just clicked.
And we didn't go there. But apparently they're not paying their bills. And there's essentially, and this is the thing, like, someone has done a company's house deep dive.
Yeah.
Now, I love this concept, and I'm actually,
more people should do this. It's so easy to do.
I'm flirting with the idea of making it a Mark Reynolds thing to basically just we just get him to just do
Mark Reynolds from the Hot Vault.
Yeah, Mark Reynolds from the Hot Vault, just to do a company's house deep dive on and then look at the finances of different breweries or venues and stuff like that to try and get to the bottom of things, because oh my god, some of it would.
I'm sure the short-term dopamine mush will be great, but what concerns me is the fact
make us very popular.
Make us very popular.
We would not.
Are you that bunch of twats who keep calling out people's finances on the air?
You're into guitars like me. There's that guy. There's like an Irish YouTuber. He's got like, I think his name is like his initials. It's just like K something something.
Oh yeah.
And he audits other people. He like audits like guitar shops or other YouTube channels, and it's like,
it's a bit much though.
He must not be very popular.
Well, sounds like a right twat, to be honest.
Yeah. It's appeared on our algorithm, so I think you know who he is.
Probably do, yeah. I think I know who he is.
Long-haired Irish guy.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
The auditor, I call him.
But anyway, this the news section here. We've also got that brewery that aren't paying their bills. We're not going to name them, but if you were thinking about it too much on the Black Horse Mile, and if you went back through our back catalogue, all the breweries or tap rooms that we didn't visit when we went down there in September, then you might have an idea. Well, what I'm basically saying is,
look back at our Instagram and any breweries in the area which we went down to who aren't on there
that
could be one of them.
Yeah, that we didn't go to.
This is like playing Elden Ring.
No, but it's actually quite simple because we went down to Black Horse Beer Mile, but there was only like one brew that we didn't go to.
Yeah, signature on it.
You're not supposed to say it.
Sorry,
you're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. The other bit that I found was Brewdog. Obviously mentioned Brewdog earlier.
Oh God, second mention.
Yeah, well, I said I'd circle back round to this. So apparently there was a news article out yesterday, and it said that Brewdog, along with Kellogg's and Coca-Cola, are still being sold on shelves in Russia despite sanctions. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
why not?
I mean,
why not Brewdog?
If I was going to view it through the lens of, just giving them the benefits of the doubt, I'd say perhaps because they bought a shitload in, because Brewdog are pretty well known for making people buy shitloads of their beer. So there could be a stockpile.
I don't know.
So the same with Kellogg's and Coca-Cola, really. However, let's be honest, that's not what's happened.
Well, it's not what it is, because that's 3 brands out of, think of every other macro brand of, like, not just beer, but I'm talking about anything. Macro brand of anything that now currently aren't in Russia.
Yeah.
This has got to be a conscious choice to some degree.
Oh, God, what is wrong with Brewdog? We say something like, to encourage them, not to encourage them, but to give a little bit of positivity. Earlier on, we go, Brewdog do good stuff. They have good guest lists. They promote local breweries or
craft beer Wetherspoons,
but they bring in foreign stuff, and there's typically quite a good lineup in most Brewdogs you go into on a good day. And then they do this, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's like they're giving you a reach around, and then they're just sort of headbutting you in the back of the head repeatedly as well.
Yeah, James Watt, I'm sure he'd enjoy that.
No, James Watt isn't involved anymore. He's just the captain. Is that what they called himself?
I think so.
He just called himself the captain or some obnoxious thing like that.
Brewdog Daddy.
The Brewdog, yeah. They come with the daddy.
Yeah.
The what daddy? The JW daddy.
Well, that's Brewdog. I mean, we could fill episodes talking about those guys, but you mentioned earlier that there's a Patreon question.
Yes.
So maybe we should get down to that. So this is one of the other perks of being a member of our Patreon, is that we put out onto our chat group, we're doing an episode we don't have to talk about, can you help us? And people send in questions, or at least they've started to, which is nice. So that's currently what's going to be happening here. We
have,
yeah.
And this is from our old chums, the Lang's Crafty Beer Drinkers.
So that's Phil and Amy.
And Phil says, well, I presume it's Phil, unless Amy's talking about herself in the third person, which would be a bit weird. Amy's got a point of discussion. As our own glass collection grows, feel your pain there. Do you think you should drink a beer from the correct glass? And he goes on to say, we're not talking about just the shape, but also the branding, matching the beer to the brewery's own glassware. So there's two things there. But I think what he's asking there is, how much is too much? How far is too far?
Yeah.
With his nerdery.
I think if you're asking the question, you need to get rid of some glasses.
You say that, but you've got loads of glasses up there, and I really struggled to find two just.
I know. Yeah. No, I know. On a serious note, I think it's interesting because, obviously, if you're in Belgium, it's literally the law. I don't.
You can get arrested if you don't drink out the right glass.
Yeah. These days.
These days you get arrested.
Yeah. But no, that they have a thing where the beer has to be sold in the correct glass, and they obviously have the rails above the bars and stuff, so that like there's never a shortage of glasses. There must be more glass in Belgium than than anywhere in, I don't know, the world.
It just
in a concentrated space.
Mate, if you to open a bar in Belgium, you'd probably need more storage and bar space just to keep the bottles and the glassware. It's insane.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which
really,
is brilliant, though.
Well, yeah, it's brilliant, but it's also crazy when you think about all the small bars that you go to in Belgium. Like,
yeah.
But anyway, I remember going to a Fritz place, like a place that was just serving Fritz and something else Belgian. I don't know, waffles probably.
Fritz is German for potatoes.
Yeah, also Dutch, and I ordered a beer while I was there as well, and I can't remember what it was, but they didn't have the glass for it, and the woman started to pour me the beer into a glass that wasn't the right glass, and a guy came over, just snatched it off her, and then said no, and then gave her a really boring looking, it's almost like one of those, but had a stem on it. Just gave one of those, but it had nothing on it, and then I had to have the beer in that. And I was like, "That's fine. I don't mind. I
think
mind
I'd
what
be
I drink."
mortified.
But it's
I feel cheated.
what the fact that it came in another glass.
Yeah,
This is the thing. I don't know. Like, and I suppose this is Amy's question, right?
I think it's more based on home based. I think we can all appreciate Belgian style, glassware enthusiasm. I think that's amazing. But yeah, at home, I don't think branding is important. In fact, give a monkeys about that. But obviously, there's certain brands who have very specific glassware, and only they have it. So that feels right. I don't lose my mind if I don't get the right glassware. What I do hate is other people's branding on non-specific.
Where does this
beers.
fall into it?
Ooh, okay. This is the mad scientist that you picked up.
I think are from Hungary, maybe. I think they're from Budapest.
Yeah,
Could be wrong on that. I don't know.
they've
Don't
got
hold me to
a
it.
little science beaker style.
But yeah, they've got a science speaker thing, and literally, what I liked about it when I bought this, because I didn't buy this per se. I bought a beer, and the way Hot Vaulted marketed this was they had 3 Mad Scientist beers, and on the shelf it just had a line of these glasses and also the beers, and just said, glass is £5 or free with any of the 3 beers. It's like literally they just want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even buy all 3 as a package and you get the free glass. It's like, just buy any one of them and take a glass with it. Please, just get them off our shelves and get them out of our hair.
But that is but that's just promotional marketing stuff.
It's great though. I mean, I only got it really because...
Would you drink a beer out of it?
I will do, because why not? I only really got it for my daughter for science experiments in the future.
Yeah, I mean, don't put that over a naked flame. It will crack.
No, I don't plan on it, but it is a
good point though. Right, so certain things wind me up, right? In pubs, if you had, I don't know, like, there's some pretty shonky pubs, but if you had, I don't know, a pint of Guinness in a Stella glass.
Oh, that
oh, come on.
That would go on every single Gimfluencer account.
Oh, that's too much, right?
Yeah.
So I think we've agreed.
That's not on.
That's the extreme end, right?
That's not okay.
That is not okay. At home, would you do the same? Would you pour a can of Guinness into a Stella glass if you had a Guinness glass?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay. So
so
we have some standards. That's good.
Yeah. That is a good point. That's a good point.
Okay. Now, are there specific glasses you wouldn't drink a type of beer out of? I'm talking about not branding here. We're talking about styles.
One thing I need to ask you while we're still on the subject is, do you still have my Emperor glass?
I'm not sure.
You should do.
Probably.
Yeah, it's going to be in your shelf somewhere. I need to come and get that.
Okay.
Or just get Damien to send me another one. I just want it.
Okay.
any-
You just asking. I thought you could lead into
For any Emperor's beer that I want to drink.
well, that's a great thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose my mind if I don't drink a stout out of a specific glass, which emphasizes how good stouts are. But those Emperor's glasses are particularly good for stouts. And if I remember, I'm drinking a stout, I will grab that glass and put it in there because
Yeah.
it just feels right? Whereas these bad boys we're drinking out of constantly, the Allegra style, anything could go in that. As I'm concerned.
Yeah. And I think there has obviously been videos and stuff and all sorts of academia done on what should you drink and what should it be in, and ultimately it doesn't matter really. It should more be about the fact is it clean. If it's clean, that should be the right thing. Because
but which we're failing with here.
Which we fail with on the channel because it leads to really sad looking heads.
You just poured a beer.
Yeah, I just
Dude, what's going on with that beer? Looks like
it does.
Sid.
It looks sad, but it
looks like cider.
It does look like a Westie.
Is it because we haven't cleaned the glass?
I think it could be because we haven't. Yeah, because I mean, you pour that and it looks good. So
it's a short dot, and it's called Hairstyle of the Gods 2 Extended Cut, and it's all about the mullet.
So one of the reasons why I picked that one was because we love West Coasts, and it's a great beer for warm weather.
It is,
which is what we're currently living in. But also, it's got so many great bad haircuts.
Yeah, and it's all about the mullet. So they did do a Hairstyle of the Gods 1, clearly.
I think I had that.
I remember that. But this has got lots of statements about the mullet here. Holy hair for heavenly hunks. I agree. Divine looks, angelic locks. Oh yeah. The seasons must do. Business casual meets party starter. Now, have you ever had a mullet?
No.
Fail.
No.
I've always been
giving me jip for that.
I'm just cowardly not to have a mullet.
I think if I was younger and I didn't have any prospects, maybe I'd have a mullet.
No prospects mullet.
no prospects mullet.
It's quite brave though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
in this day and age. Although I have noticed that the mullet has made a little bit of a comeback.
It absolutely has.
So the kids now got
helped by Australia.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Australian football.
Fucking hell,
haircuts.
Jesus.
Anyway, this Sure Shot, by the way, it actually tastes really good, but it's lost its head instantly. So maybe it's the heat. We should have kept it in the fridge.
I don't know.
That's not good. But anyway, it's a 6.7%. Whoa. And it's Simcoe, Dynaboost T90, and Centennial T90, and Hyperboost, and Galaxy.
So I guess what you could say,
Chinook.
As far as being a beer goes, it's great, but it goes bald really quick.
Yes. Ironically.
Yeah. It goes from
does lose his hair.
Having a great head of hair to having.
But back to the glass thing, right? I'm very much aware that you're drinking it out of a Verdant branded glass.
It does bother me, actually.
Does it bother you?
Slightly.
But I'm drinking out of a Hull beer shop glass.
But that should feel normal to you.
Yeah, I know, but would that feel better if you're drinking out of this? Even though it's the same style?
Maybe. And I think that could be what it is. Like, is it to some people, is it more about let's say you've bought something. Like I remember buying the putty tipper the first time that they did it, and this glass came with it. And that invokes images in my head of how that beer is.
Oh, I see.
So
okay,
there's an element to that, maybe, but then also I've also got, or I also did have. I think it exploded actually in the dishwasher. A Track Gold Top one. The one that was like really kind of.
It was like a tulip. Yeah,
tulip.
Yeah.
And it had like a really cool pattern on. And that I literally just kept just for Gold Tops. I wouldn't drink anything else.
Oh, interesting. So there's a kind of psychosomatic thing going on.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's a couple of glasses that I've got now that are kind of almost beer exclusive, and kind of like to think I'd keep it for that. There are certain ones, like for instance, there's a Cloudwater Barrel Project one, like a proper chalice, but it also almost looks Belgian. If I ever have a Belgian beer, or if I'm pouring Kate a Belgian, because she loves the Belgian beers as well, I'll just use one of those, because in the absence of anything, Belgian-y, although I do have that as well, I've got like Westfaletter and Westmalle and all that. Yeah. But then, it always feels a bit more for me, fucking with the Belgian side of things. I would never put a New England IPA in a Belgian glass. That feels to me like a step too far.
That's what I'm saying. So there's certain caveats, which are certain styles you wouldn't fuck with in terms of glassware, right? You just wouldn't. And there's certain brands that you have to keep standardized, right? I mean, you couldn't put a can of Guinness into an Allegra. You couldn't do it, because that would just be terrible. So I think it's very clear that it's specific, but you also pushed it a little bit further by saying different branding on the right glassware fucks with your brain a little bit as well. It kind of might ruin.
And you know what? It's actually, the more I think about it, the more we talk about this, it's actually a really fucking great question.
Good idea for a video.
Because it's really jarring to think when we kind of, because it's actually like, it just points out, or it makes you confront all of the unconscious biases that you probably already have. Like, it's a decision that I've already made in my brain when I open up my shelf, open up my cupboard and reach into the shelves. But I don't think about why I'm thinking that until someone asks me on the Patreon, what do you think about glassware and this beer and that beer? So that's actually a really good question. It'll be also really interesting to get other people's views on that.
It would be. And also, I definitely do it wrong, or me and Hannah do it wrong in our house, because I use this style glass for most things, right?
Anything.
There's a weird thing that happens then. We've got a couple of really great tulip style, long stem tulip style St. Miles the Desert glasses.
Yeah.
And they're brilliant for hot summer's day, like today, lager, or anytime lager, because when you think about the usage of glass, you want to grab the stem, not the actual glass, and warm up the beer, right? So they're great. But funnily enough, if it's just sort of like, session beers and stuff like that, regardless, I'll just use this. And that's wrong, because, tip a lager, a lager without thinking into something like this, instantly I'm heating it up. I'm probably ruining the beer almost straight away, or, at least taking it past where it should be.
You're actually holding it at the bottom.
Yeah. And then, can use it for a stout, which is a good thing in this situation. But I'm probably using this style of glass too much. It's almost like too utilitarian. So I think it is a thing for you. This will probably prove how much you care about glassware, right? Would you drink an Orval, bottle of Orval, in this?
I mean, have we done that for the video?
Yeah.
Yeah. we did.
Yeah, but it didn't bother you, I don't think.
Well, only because I knew that we didn't have the correct glassware.
How about we did? But you wouldn't drink anything else in an Orval glass, would you?
No, that's true. Yeah.
So it really does kind of make a stop.
You reckon the glass is the one that
I think
calls the shots?
I think it's amplified massively with a certain type of glass.
Yeah.
Belgian specific branding glass. Well, Belgian glasses are going to be specifically branded, but that fucks my head up. I couldn't be drinking anything else out of it, Orval glass. It just look weird. It does completely ruin my enjoyment. To the point where, the two Orval glasses we've got probably get about 4 uses a year, if we're lucky. But I would drink any Belgian beer out of a Le Chouffe glass. What's that about?
Yeah, it kind of feels like Le Chouffe's like a bit of a stock glass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit more tulipy. Yeah.
Right, we are running out of time now, so let's say goodbye, because we've done really well on this, actually.
Well, considering we had no content.
Yeah, considering we thought that we didn't have anything to really talk about. Thank you, Phil and Amy, for the question. That was really good. If you guys want to sign up to the Patreon, who are listening now, then you absolutely should, because at the moment we currently have, what have we got, Paul? We've got the Death Row Beers episode of Johnny Garrett at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a couple more lined up. We've got loads of stuff in the can which we haven't put out yet.
Nope. Nope.
But yeah, why haven't we put it out yet, Chris?
Because nope. But no, so that episode's there on the Patreon for those that subscribe to a paid tier. It's going to be out for general release at some point anyway, but we can't necessarily say when. It'll probably be like August or something, because we're going to get some more in the can.
We put stuff on it a week before typically anyway, so it's early access stuff. Loads of conversations happening, loads of good folk over there. And yeah, there'll be big things hopefully coming up over the next sort of 12 months or so. So get on it. I mean, it costs nothing. Come on.
And you also get access to our exclusive podcast, The Drip Tray, which we're going to be recording just after this. And the subject of this one, Paul, is going to be, can you get animals drunk? So that should be a fun one. And we've got some animal-themed beers for that. So if you are a member of the Patreon, we'll see you over there. If you're not, then why not? But if not, then fine. We'll see you next time.
Lost yourself a bit there, didn't you, mate?
Yeah.
Later.
See ya.
The Fantasy Beer Name podcast is brought to you by Planet Beer TV. This episode was recorded by Luke Bartlett. Thanks once again to our wonderful sponsors, Mosaic Board Printers.